Hello everyone, it's me, Ulysses. I'm here to demonstrate how to make a 64-bit style cube map for Luster like they had in the old classic N64 games and PlayStation games. Yeah, you can tell that I'm really into that sort of thing, even though it's kind of outdated. Call it rose tinted glasses. It's just kind of what I'm into. Anyway, let me just show you my methods. I'm going to be using Photoshop and Maya. I'm sure that everyone's using cheaper shit than this, but I figure for those of you who are hotshots who like to use Maya like me, you'd maybe benefit from this sort of thing. Still haven't figured out too well how to transfer it to Unreal or anything. That's probably the next step. But I do know how to recreate it in Maya and how to make a map for everything in Photoshop. So let me show you the general trick. So I'm not going to be using layers or anything like that. You know what? Screw it. I'll use layers anyway, just because I want it to look somewhat nice. Anyway, so here I got a nice brush tool with some hardness, and I'm just gonna maybe dang, I absolutely flubbed that. Let's try that again. Right. Okay, I'm a little irritated. Alright, alright. So we want to start with some neutral grayish, and then we want a little bit of a few bands of darkening, I guess you could call it, just to, it doesn't have to be the Mona Lisa, because we're going to really de-res this puppy. Just make sure that you just have some nice smooth bands of darkish, I guess, for some saturation. Again, it doesn't have to, it can look like shit because it's going to be all pixelated when we're done with it anyway. Yeah, so, and want a bit of light spots to make it a little smoothish, I guess. Again, we want these to be kind of big. And then just some, so it just to give it a bit of bloom. Again, this looks like crap, but it's going to look better because we are going to shrink it. So, but first things first, this is not going to work too well if we have it layered, so we want to merge. Okay, good. We don't want this to be the background. We want... So now what we do... Screw it, we don't need a layer 1. So what we free transform it, and we make sure that it goes to... let's do 32 pixels by... Oh crap. That's the... We want to get this way down. Like... Right. We want this to be 32 pixels by 32 pixels. And there is our map. Want to get it all the way in the corner so that we won't lose anything when we change the image size. Dang. I think I screwed something up here. Okay, that much isn't lost. Alright. And action. So let's try that. Oh, canvas size, that's what. That's the whole point. Ah, crud. Something. Sorry, you can tell that I sort of suck. That I'm kind of playing this all by ear. Not image, pixel, canvas. And there we go. Now... what we're going to do next is to make... Okay, so this next part's kind of optional, but you can increase the frequency of the luster spots by duplicating it. Obviously, I did not need to be more precise with so let's get that down to exactly 16 and put it there. Then we duplicate. And then merge, duplicate, and merge. The one that I did before looked a lot better because I was kind of slightly using this process to go over a pre-existing file that obviously all the ROM hackers would have access to and crap in all of the old games, but I wanted to go by memory this time. As you can see, there's definitely a bit of a discrepancy here. Like, oh, doy. Okay, now I remember. You want to flip it after duplicating it. Oh. Right. Crap. For some reason, it's cutting off a bit whenever I... Looks like I'll have to flip it manually. But that's not quite correct. Yeah, that's more like what I was thinking of. So yeah. So we duplicate this one. And free transform it. And flip. That looks more like what I had before. A little crappier, mind you, but still pretty close. Again, I have this one that looks way better than that. So for the time being, let's just save this puppy. And let's just call it crap. Right, before I do anything with it, I need to export it into a PNG. Okay, so now we're on to the actual business in Maya. To demonstrate the luster, I'm going to model out my own thing. It'll be basic geometry, and fairly simple, but it will serve the purpose of showing what this texture I'm about to make can do. So we want one subdivision cap. Definitely want to turn off soft select. And then we just poke it up. And there, we have a nice, lovely crystalline object. Okay. So... just gonna freeze transforms because that shit can get ugly, and definitely take the history off of it. Again, I'm probably not going to be... I'll just save it for the purpose of showing you guys. Right. So what we want is to assign a new material, and we want it to be a Fong. So we want to go to our hypershade, and we want to look at our Fong. Okay, so what we want to screw with is the reflected color. Oh. Or rather, the specular color for the time being. No, sorry. So what we need is an environment cube, And now we put our file in. Okay, we're getting there. So what we want to do here is we want to get all the slots on our environment cube and hook them into all 6 directions. Okay. And with that, we've got the primary function set up. Right. Crap. You can tell I'm kind of fudging it a bit. The next node we need is a multiply divide. And that will go, the first one will go to our cube map. And we could just input a manual color, but yeah, getting a little claustrophobic here. But you might want to have a gradient, so I'm going to put a color ramp here. And I'll just use my color. Put it into input 2. And we want this to go to the reflected color. And we want this to go to the specular color. Right. Sorry, I didn't have the stupid shading on. So now, as you can see, we have got we've got sort of a gray crystal with a green metallic luster on it. Let's up the transparency because that'll look better. I mean, you could just have this luster on anything and you'd have like an old school metal. or you could have a crystal. It really depends on your preference. And again, you could add another color to the ramp, and it'll look more, well, at least the color of the crystal itself will look more like that, but but you can also get the luster itself to have a gradient. So here's what we're gonna do about that. Let's get the hypershade back, and we are going to need another ramp. Right. So I suppose I'm going to go for a bit more yellow. Will probably look like crap, but I can balance all the color out and stuff as I go. So right. We plug this into color gain. And just like that, the luster is can have its color controlled. And again, if you want to, you can, this is a ramp, so again, you can get the color to act all freaky like that. Actually kind of looks a bit like an opal like this. But yeah, generally that's how you'd approach a material like this in Maya, and I'm glad I was able to show it to you. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side.